Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the commanding officer of Officer Training Command Newport, welcome to the graduation ceremony for Officer Candidate School, Class 1-4, TAC 2-4. I am Lieutenant Slater, the Assistant Class Officer. Over the past 13 weeks, the class team has been responsible for mentally, morally, and physically developing today's graduates to serve as professional naval officers, worthy of the special trust and confidence. The Class 1-4 TAC 2-4 class team also includes Class Officer Lieutenant Lee, Recruit Division Commander Senior Chief Petty Officer Wyndham, and Class Drill Instructor Staff Sergeant Magical. Guests are encouraged to take photographs from the seating area at any time during the ceremony, except during the playing of the national anthem. The order of today's events are as follows. At 10:00, Commander Nicole Scherer, United States Navy Executive Officer, Officer Training Command Newport, and Rear Admiral Todd Whalen, United States Navy President, Board of Inspection and Survey, will arrive. The guests in class will rise for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the playing of the national anthem and the invocation. The executive officer and the guest of honor will then address the graduating class and administer the oath of office. The graduates will be recognized individually by name and designation. Then, all guests will rise for the playing of the service songs and the final dismissal.
Class, attend, and salute!
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the national anthem and the invocation. Commander, United States Navy, arriving. President, Board of Inspection and Survey, arriving. Ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, Chaplain Everett will now offer the invocation.
Let us pray. Eternal Father, strong to save, we give you our thanks for binding the restless waves with the needs of these newly trained naval officers, so they could stand proud this day for becoming morally, mentally, and physically developed for the service of our fleet. As they prepare for their next evolution in their communities, remind them of what it means to be a leader and serve a purpose. Let them embody humility and selflessness. Remind them to value every sailor and civilian they cross paths with each day. Impress upon them the initiative, integrity, accountability, and toughness needed to do the right thing, especially when it's difficult. Embolden them to have ownership of what they are called to do, even when they are called into harm's way. So as these officers look to their horizon, prepare them for the challenges that lie ahead, giving them the physical, mental, and spiritual readiness to meet each one with confidence. And so as we continue to celebrate this moment, we ask for your spirit to reside with us and all those who stand to watch this day. In your name we pray. Amen.
Cyborg, ready, ready. Cyborg, forward, march. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Class, ready, seat.
Ladies and gentlemen, Commander Nicole Scherer, Executive Officer, Officer Training Command Newport.
Ladies and gentlemen, Admiral Whalen, Captain Mack, Colonel Dixon, Colonel Savage, distinguished guests, veterans and service members, Officer Training Command Newport staff, family and friends, and most importantly, soon to be commissioned officers of OCS Class 14, TAC 24, good morning.
Good morning.
I am excited to welcome our 64 newest graduates into one of the most challenging and fulfilling careers, that of a naval officer. To the family and friends joining us, I applaud you for the great work you did preparing these impressive young leaders prior to their arrival here. Your love, support, and encouragement have produced the remarkable individuals seated here today. It has enabled them to make sound choices, and we are grateful to these graduates for their choice to serve. They could not have gotten to this point without the guidance and support of family and friends. On behalf of the Navy and grateful nation, please accept my most sincere thank you. To the graduates here today, I am proud of each and every one of you. You all had many other options than volunteering to serve your country, yet you chose this path. Half of you are continuing the path you started years ago when you left home for boot camp. I thank you for your patriotism and your willingness to serve. I assure you that a life of service holds many rewards and will bring you great fulfillment. You have completed rigorous military, academic, and physical training. You overcame obstacles. Nothing was handed to you except opportunity. The opportunity to make something of yourselves, to learn, to grow, and to lead. You seized that opportunity, and today you reap its rewards. I congratulate each and every one of you for this significant and memorable achievement. I applaud your accomplishments and perseverance. You are about to embark upon a great adventure, one in which I hope you find both professional success and personal fulfillment. It will be unlike any other job you might have had. Regardless of how long you serve our nation, it will most assuredly be a time in your life upon which you will look back with much pride and satisfaction. Congratulations to each and every one of you. I wish you fair winds and following seas. It is now my privilege to introduce our guest of honor, Rear Admiral Todd Whalen. Rear Admiral Whalen is a third-generation naval officer born right here in Newport. He graduated with distinction from the University of Virginia with a Bachelor of Science in Mechanical Engineering and was commissioned via the Navy ROTC program. He later earned master's degrees from Massachusetts Institute of Technology in Naval Architecture, Marine Engineering, and Civil Environmental Engineering. A nuclear-trained surface warfare officer, his assignments at sea include tours as communications officer on USS Normandy, machinery division officer on USS Dwight D. Eisenhower, operations officer on USS Thorn, reactor electrical assistant on USS Theodore Roosevelt, and executive officer on USS Gonzales. Admiral Whalen commanded USS Rodney M. Davis, served as reactor officer on USS Nimitz, and commanded Destroyer Squadron 9. As Commodore, he led 8 DDGs in 4 home ports and deployed as Sea Combat Commander for Nimitz Carrier Strike Group. He is the 70th President of the Board of Inspection and Survey, and in that role is responsible for assessing the material readiness of the fleet. His leadership is essential to the continued success of the world's greatest Navy. We are privileged to have him here with us today to share his thoughts. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our guest of honor today, Admiral Todd Whalen.
Hey, thanks for the great introduction, and more importantly, your leadership at the Navy's Officer Candidate School. I'm pretty sure you got one of the best jobs and the best locations, unless it's February. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and the Navy's newest officers, good morning. It's great to be back in Newport. I was born in the condemned Navy haunted Naval Hospital just down the road, and I spent several years at the bases here going to surface warfare officer training, so I know the buildings, the base running loop, some of the geese on the trail pretty well. I hope you guys enjoyed your 13 weeks in Newport and maybe got out to sea a little bit, but something tells me you're ready to leave OCS in your rearview mirror. So I promise to keep my remarks brief. You may have heard, even in training, about the author Albert Hubbard. He wrote a message to Garcia. He said, "Every man is a damn fool at least 5 minutes every day. Wisdom consists in not exceeding the limit. I will do my best." And perhaps more importantly for the sports fans in the audience, I know it's the Olympics and Katie Ledecky swimming an 800-meter freestyle here soon, so we'll get you right to that. I'll keep it simple and I'll tell you what matters most, which is thank you for your service. Thanks for raising your right hands and taking an oath to support and defend the Constitution of the United States. Thanks for what you're going to do in the coming years and the sacrifices that you'll make on behalf of our nation and the American people. And to the families in the audience, thank you for your service as well. You may not be the one saying an oath today, but you will absolutely serve the Navy and our nation in the coming years. I truly appreciate your support to your sailors and your service to our country. To the fleet's newest officers, let me tell you something. You guys in the audience, sitting in those chairs, you're the reason for our strong Navy. Look around at the incredibly diverse group of folks sitting beside you. I looked at your roster. You hail from 24 states, Puerto Rico, Guam, Jamaica, and Ghana. I counted 19 aviators, 18 supply corps officers, 15 surface warriors, 5 human resource officers, 3 submariners, an intel officer, a cryptologist, an information professional, aerospace maintenance duty officer, and 1 professional recruiter. Most of you have some additional schools to attend, but you'll soon be on the deck plates of a warship or in the cockpit of an airplane, standing a watch, or directly supporting a warfighter. That was me 29 years ago when Ensign Whalen reported at USS Normandy, that's a Ticonderoga-class cruiser stationed in Norfolk. The ship left on deployment 3 days after I got there. And 2 weeks later, I had the con, I was driving the ship, and we were launching 15 Tomahawks, land attack cruise missiles into Bosnia-Herzegovina in support of United Nations peacekeeping operations. That could be you in 2025. You don't get to pick when the incitement comes, you just need to be ready for it. As Fleet Admiral Chester Nimitz said when taking command of PAC Fleet in December 1941, "I have taken on a great responsibility and I will do my utmost to meet it." Your shipmates and fellow Marines are serving on the aircraft carrier USS Theodore Roosevelt, including the Warriors and 70 aircraft of carrier Air Wing 11 right now in the Arabian Gulf, supporting Operation Prosperity Guardian to promote regional stability and protect the free flow of commerce in the Middle East. That's 8,000 plus sailors in TR Strike Group. That includes ship drivers, submariners, aviators, supply corps officers, intelligence officers, cryptologists, HR and IP officers, and even aerospace maintenance duty officers. That sounds a lot like your class to me. Except perhaps, where's our TAR recruiter? I know we got a permanent, most important person in the room. She's gonna find us our release, right? Thanks for what you're gonna do. On the other side of the world, Navy sailors are serving on ships, submarines, and aircraft in the Hawaiian Islands, supporting RIMPAC, Rim of the Pacific. That's the world's largest international maritime exercise, with 25,000 sailors from 29 nations on 40 surface ships, 3 subs, and 150 aircraft, where they're working together to build relationships and partnerships to help keep sea lines of communication open on the world's oceans. So as we celebrate your graduation and commissioning today, there are 90 ships at sea, and about 350,000 sailors are serving on active duty. The Navy's mission is constant, 24/7, 365. Just a few more numbers for context. 90% of international trade travels by the world's oceans, and 1/3 of global shipping goes through the South China Sea. Another 15% of that global volume goes through the Red Sea. Hundreds of undersea fiber optic cables carry trillions of dollars in transactions every day. The global economy and the rules-based international order that supports it depend on strong and principled naval power. A strong United States Navy is critical to our national security and helps us protect the seas and our way of life. So when I thank you for your service, I'm thanking you for the oath you're going to say in a few minutes and what you're going to do in the years ahead. When you graduate, you'll join the world's greatest Navy and you'll be a part of something much bigger. You will do important work in service to our nation. You will lead sailors to be responsible for their performance and their well-being. It won't be easy, but it will be incredibly rewarding and perhaps the most important work you've ever did. And let me tell you, you are well prepared. In my job, I get to inspect all of the ships in the fleet, right? So I get out on about 20 or 30 a year. And I spoke with a few recent OCS graduates on the deck plates. I was on USS Iwo Jima, and I spoke to Ensign Richardson, who graduated less than a year ago, and asked him, hey, what would you tell someone like you sitting in your chair where you were when you're graduating from OCS? What advice would you give them? And what he said, and others, sounds remarkably like what you might hear from a Navy ship captain or from a corporate CEO. The top 3 recommendations from recent OCS graduates: listen, be curious and ask questions, although you may have just watched a Ted Lasso episode, and put in the work and do your best. Okay, I know I've reached my 5-minute limit. Let me leave you with one final thought. If you're a hockey fan, I'm stealing this from Wayne Gretzky, the greatest hockey player of all time. He said, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. So thanks again for joining the Navy team and giving it your best shot. Congratulations. I look forward to serving with you in the fleet.
The graduating class will now receive the oath of office. Would all military personnel in uniform please come to the position of attention?
Class, on
Class, raise your right hand.
I state your name.
I,
Having been appointed an ensign in the United States Navy,
having been appointed an ensign in the United States Navy,
do hereby accept such appointment,
do hereby accept such appointment,
and do solemnly swear
and do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely,
that I take this obligation freely,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion,
and I will well and faithfully discharge the duties
and I will well and faithfully discharge the duties
of the office on which I am about to enter.
of the office on which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Class, ready, seats.
We will now recognize the graduates. Ensign Rodriguez, Student Naval Flight Officer. Ensign Hainsworth, Student Naval Flight Officer. Ensign Hainsworth is a distinguished naval graduate. Ensign King, Surface Warfare Officer, Nuclear. Ensign Carrion, Surface Warfare Officer, Nuclear. Ensign Tenney, Student Naval Flight Officer. Ensign Zeich, Supply Corps Officer. Ensign Morris, Surface Warfare Officer. Ensign Mortimer, Human Resource Officer. Ensign Mortimer is a distinguished naval graduate. Ensign Rodriguez Lopez, Surface Warfare Officer. Ensign Aful, Supply Corps Officer. Ensign Bailey, Surface Warfare Officer, Engineering Duty Officer. Ensign Vandalo, Cryptological Warfare Officer. Ensign Becker, Student Naval Aviator. Ensign Bai, Supply Corps Officer. Ensign Bialbanez, Surface Warfare Officer, Nuclear. Ensign Camacho, Nuclear Submarine Officer. Ensign Kietzel Velez, Supply Corps Officer. Ensign Daniels, Student Naval Aviator. Ensign Dilliard, Supply Corps Officer. Ensign Achado, Supply Corps Officer. Ensign Franz, Student Naval Flight Officer. Ensign Gaddis, Student Naval Flight Officer. Ensign Gaetano, Nuclear Submarine Officer. Ensign Giardina, Surface Warfare Officer. Ensign Glass, Information Professional Officer. Ensign Gonzalez, Human Resource Officer. Ensign Gonzalez is a distinguished naval graduate. Ensign Haddad Lachuga, Supply Corps Officer. Ensign Hannah, Student Naval Flight Officer. Ensign Hockey, Student Naval Flight Officer. Ensign Jimenez, Supply Corps Officer. Ensign Johnson, Human Resource Officer. Ensign Kane, Student Naval Flight Officer. Ensign Kanku, Supply Corps Officer. Ensign Keenley, Student Naval Aviator. Ensign Kincaid, Student Naval Aviator. Ensign Kincaid is a distinguished naval graduate. Ensign Lewis, Aviation Maintenance Duty Officer. Ensign Lee, Supply Corps Officer. Ensign Mendel, Surface Warfare Officer. Ensign Marfo, Supply Corps Officer. Ensign McKinnell, Student Naval Aviator. Ensign McKinnell is a distinguished naval graduate. Ensign Meyer, Student Naval Aviator. Ensign Morgan, Surface Warfare Officer. Ensign Parmley, Nuclear Submarine Officer. Ensign Parmley is a distinguished naval graduate. Ensign Patton, Supply Corps Officer. Ensign Perez, Intelligence Warfare Officer. Ensign Pham, Supply Corps Officer. Ensign Robinson, Permanent Professional Recruiter. Ensign Savage, Student Naval Flight Officer. Ensign Selbach, Student Naval Flight Officer. Ensign Sarah, Surface Warfare Officer, Nuclear. Ensign Seward, Supply Corps Officer. Ensign Seward is a distinguished naval graduate. Ensign Sloan, Student Naval Flight Officer. Ensign Sperry, Surface Warfare Officer. Ensign Stewart, Surface Warfare Officer. Ensign Sturgis, Surface Warfare Officer. Ensign Suarez, Supply Corps Officer. Ensign Thomas, Surface Warfare Officer. Ensign Van, Surface Warfare Officer. Ensign Van Gleisen, Student Naval Flight Officer. Ensign Walton, Supply Corps Officer. Ensign Wong, Supply Corps Officer. Ensign Williams, Human Resource Officer. Ensign Yu, Supply Corps Officer. Ensign Calvo, Human Resources Officer. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in recognizing the United States Navy's newest ensigns. Please rise for the playing of the service songs and final dismissal.